recording. Okay, got it. So we have one of the reports here. So let's say we completed this report and then we are all set to demo this report to the users. The simple thing what we have to do is within the home tab, as I mentioned, so we have this data side options where we can import the data. We'll be able to make changes to the data, the query editor option, and then refresh the data, adding new visuals. And then we have this sharing option. So once we click on publish, so this will publish to app.powerbi.com. So this would we will be all the users will be able to access it within the browser, and then they will be you will be able to demo the report. So you'll be able to use all the slices here, saying that so we have provided this capability where we will be able to select a year from the drop down, and then we will be able to select a city, and then this is how the dashboard works. And then you will be able to say that you have this high level KPIs and then detail level tables and all. And then this is how you'll be able to demo it.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. But for the initial classes, we are just assuming that the data is clean. But as I mentioned, so we have this query editor option, which is within the home tab. I can click on this transform data. And I think for this report, there were some transformations already applied. Okay, I don't think so. It's part of this version. But
So when you click on transformation data, then you get all these options to work on your raw data, right? Like I
yes,
was saying, deleting, editing. Okay. Okay.
yes. And I can show you some of the steps that were being applied. So let me open the new version. Okay. So you could see all the queries what we have to the right.
Mm-hmm.
So IPL data and all. Um, I can click here and then say transform data. If I minimize this, then you could see the window what we have here. This is called Power Query Editor. And then we also will have this Power BI desktop. Power BI desktop is where we will visualize the data, add measures and all. Power Query Editor is where we will do data transformation. You see we have all the queries here to the left.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we see Power BI desktop, we will have all the tables to the right. And then this will act like an hierarchy. So if I expand this, then I'll be able to see all
Okay.
the
Yeah.
measures or all the columns we have for that specific table.
Okay.
Okay, but here one thing you observe is we have this team slicers. So few of the transformation we did it here, those are just specific to query editor. Those are acting like a supporting queries for our output. You see, we don't have anything time slices, time team one. So we only have dim teams available here, which is this one. So if I select this team slicer team one, the way I have to read this is I have to see all the different applied steps what I have here. So this is saying I have a source, then I have prompted headers, and I can also click on the step. Here you see this is how I have first loaded the data. And then if I click on this gear icon here, then this will take me to the source of the data. So this is coming from my local drive, and then this is a CSV file, and then it loaded the data for me. And then here you see everything. This is saying as column one, column two here.
Mm-hmm.
Either I can move to the next step, or you see at top, I have this option,
Yeah.
use first row as headers.
Still become the first
Yes.
header. Yeah. Okay.
And then after that, we are saying for a few of the columns here. So you see the third column, it's the date column, but it's still keeping it as text.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we have to do it. So I can do it here, or I have within the transform option. So we have this detect data type option.
Oh, okay.
So if I click on this, so you could observe here, now this icon got changed.
It's really like I like it. I kind of like it, but then I need to learn all this stuff.
Yeah, so that's the reason. The key thing, so let's say when you're working for a client, a bigger client, all the data transformations basically happen on the backend side, and then the data team tries to give you a clean data. That was the only reason we were completely focusing on the front end side, but this is part of the training what you would have, and then you will be able to do a lot of amazing things. This not only will help for your professional career, but you can like do data analysis of like whatever data you have. Like let's say if you have data for your spending and all, and then you quickly want to build a report, combine everything, you'll be able to do it, because this also reads PDF data. So if you have a bank statement, you want to read it and then analyze it, you will be able to do it within Power BI Desktop.
Mm.
Yep.
Thank you.
Next step, rename columns, remove other columns and everything. So if I click on each column here, you'll be seeing we have multiple options here. Removing the column, removing duplicate. So everything is GUI interface here. So whatever steps you do, everything will be recorded here. And then if I go to the home tab at the top, as I said, we will have two different languages in Power BI. One is mQuery language, and then second one is the DAX language. DAX language will be only used on Power BI Desktop, where we use it on the front end side. But when you do this data transformation, so you will be using mQuery language. So all the steps, what you have applied here,
Mhm,
Power BI try to capture all the queries. And
mhm,
then you see here, this is the syntax it generated. We don't have to worry about this, but that's what's happening behind the scene here. So you see, if I move this slightly to the left, you could see we have this prompted header step. That's the second step, what we see here.
mhm,
First one is the source. So it has a mQuery function which is trying to read the data. So this is saying this is a CSV dot document, and then this is the location for us with the additional parameters. And then when we say prompt header, then you see it has the function. So table dot prompt headers. So yeah, overall, we don't have to worry about it, but any step you do, so if I filter this out, then you will be seeing an additional. So if I say I only have to select one team, then you see one step is being added here.
mhm.
So any questions? So
So
if,
one, sorry, brother, one more question. I'm so sorry.
yeah, no,
Um,
not a problem. I think this will be helpful for other team members as well. So I think that's completely fine. You can ask questions.
no, this is actually about the duration of the project. Like, I heard it could be 3 months. Like when you go for a job, the project, but usually jobs 3 months, that would be hard, isn't it? Like, then you have to look for another job after 3 months. I mean, do you have any?
No, that is not how it will work. Uh, 3 months is basically where client says they have a rotation of 3 months and then they want to extend the project. The
Mhm.
current client for whom I'm working, so I started with them in February 2020, and then now, Alhamdulillah, it's June 2021.
Okay.
So they have, for me, they were extending my project every 3 months, and then this year they have changed the pattern, and then they have been extending the project for every 6 months.
Okay. But is there any like jobs that you, when you get into the company, they do have, suppose like not 3 months, maybe for a year contract or 2 years contract? Do you
Yeah,
get
so
kind of?
yep. So when you do the marketing, so
Mhm,
when you speak to a vendor, they would clearly say that it's a long-term project, but
mhm,
they will do 3 months extension, 6 months extension, or some of the vendors they would directly say this is a long-term 1 year project. So it's up to you to choose whether you want to go for a long-term project with 3 months extension, or where the client is saying we are having this 1 year project. But I would say on the data side, for sure, you would get a long-term project, because you see, like when you go like when you start with a client, you would have a set of duration, because first you have to understand the data, you have to understand the requirement, you have to understand their process, and then they have to build the dashboards. It's not like for building one dashboard they would hire you, right? They want to build multiple dashboards.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so don't keep that in mind that data side projects will be only for 3 months, but your performance also would count in that.
Mm. And do you guys like find jobs that, like, I asked you this I think before, that um either in person or remotely, like
Yep. So nowadays, because of COVID, most of the clients are remote, but we never know in Q4 or next year Q1. It might be a combination where they may say like for a few days we have to be on site. But again, like when you do a job marketing and then if you want to be looking for only remote opportunities, then you can inform marketing team so they could be very specific that you are looking for something remote and then something that should be long term. That's what should be discussed in initial.
okay. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions for from any other team members? All right. So okay. So a quick brief of what we have covered so far. We were targeting to install all the needed softwares. So we had Power BI Desktop coming from Microsoft Store, and then we have Tabulator, we have DAX Studio, and then we have ALM Toolkit. So these were the four key applications needed for Power BI development. And then once you install all the needed software, so you should be able to see those softwares within this external tool. We still did not see how these tools will be useful, and we just kept our focus on Power BI desktop. And then after that, we have seen what all resources we could use for learning DAX. So we have this DAX.guide and then DAX.do. So DAX.do is like a playground where you don't need Power BI desktop basically. If you just have a browser, you can quickly test functions. And then now, if coming to Power BI, we said within this data tab within home, we have all the different connectors. And then we said initially we will be leveraging OData feed because that's where we'll be able to get model data. But if you have any of the CSV based data, the one I have for this IPL matches, then I can directly connect it the CSV and then point to that specific folder and then retrieve the data. And once we have that, we can add different measures. So I could see number of teams here, the measure which I added. This is a simple measure. And then the syntax, the way we will have is we have to give the measure name followed by equal to, and then we have to give the function name. So let's say if I'm not clear with this function, then I can directly go to dax.guide, and then I can paste this function here and then see the syntax. So I can say search, I can paste it here. Oops, sorry. I have this distinct count. So I'll have a video available here because this is really very handy. The way they have structured this website, so you'll be able to see the syntax and everything. So this is saying distinct count, and then we have to provide the column name. So the column for which the distinct values are counted. So if I go back here to Power BI Desktop, then we are saying distinct count of table name, and then I have the column here, so which is dim teams and then the team column here, and then it will do a distinct count. So this is how we would have the syntax for it. And then you could see we also have one for number of matches. So we have number of matches equal to distinct count of this particular table, which is in single quotation. And then we have this column on which we want to perform this operation. Once we have this measures added, I can drag and drop on the canvas, and then Power BI by default, it will try to uh, pick one of the visuals from here. But if I want to display this one as a table visual, then I have to just select the table visual. Right now, this visual is selected, so it will reflect the changes. But let me also add another measure. So let me add number of teams. So you could see for both the measures, it directly picked the bar chart. But let's say for number of matches, I want to change it to a table visual. Then I have to first select this table visual. And then within the visualization, I have to select this table. So you could see this is giving me numbers. So it's total of 816 matches. And now I can take any of the fields that I have available here and then try to get the breakdown. So I can drag and drop and then place this teams column within the values here, or I just have to select this column. So when I select this, then you could see now, instead of showing me the total number, which is 816, this is showing me a breakdown of number of matches and teams. So I can move the columns and then reorder them. So I want to see first teams, and then after that, I want to see number of matches here. Then you could see I was able to quickly build a table visual here. So I started with a simple measure here, and then I changed it to a table visual from a bar chart. And then to the same table visual, I added a column coming from dim teams. So you could see first column, what we have here is the teams column, and then second one, what we have here is number of matches. And then the capability what we have within this table visual is we will be able to sort either by number of matches. So you could see this is in descending order, or I can sort it again, which will show me in ascending order. Either instead of using number of matches, I can also sort it by number of the team name. So this will sort it in alphabetical order. Each visual will have its own options. So you could see, so if I move this slightly down, then you could see the first icon what we see here. This will show if there are any slicers that are acting on this table visual. Right now we don't have any slicers acting, but let's say if we go and then like search for year column, then I have this year column. Let me add it. So this is giving me list of all the years, and this have directly picked as table visual, but I want to use this as a slicer. So when I select this, and then as I mentioned, each visual will have its own option. So when I select this visual, so we see we have this the slicer icon, we have the focus mode icon, and then we have this three dots, which is more option, which will be seeing soon. But within the slicer visual, so we have this clear icon. So let's say instead of 2008, I filter to 2004, 2014. Then what I could do is I can clear the slicer, and then it will go back to my default state. And then next to the slicer select slicer clear icon, I have this drop down, which gives me a list or a drop down or a between range. So if let's say if I want to change this to a drop down, then I can do that. And each visual will have the formatting option. So you see within the fields icon, this is saying me date and year is selected when I'm selecting this slicer icon. And then I have this formatting option. So within the formatting option, then you could see I have the selection control, and then I have this item. So within the item, so let's say if I want to change the background, then you could see when I selected this slicer, went into the format, within the items, I changed the background. And then within this, I'm able to see a complete list. And then now, if you want to only see the matches for 2020, you can select 2020, and then you see there was a total of 60 matches for this teams here. And then now if I see the icon here at the top, then you will be seeing that the ear, the slicers that are affecting to this is the ear slicer, which is selected to 2020. And then if you want to see the data in a focus mode, we can click on it. So this will only focus on this visual, but it will hide the other visuals. And then the third option, what we have here, you could see we have the option of exporting the data. We have the option of show as a table. So show as a table will be helpful. So let me do this. So when I select this number of teams visual, so let me change this to cluster bar chart. And then here, let me choose venue. And then let me add this to axis. Okay, so this is giving me all the venues and the number of teams. I can click on this three dots here, and then instead of showing this as a bar chart, I can say show this one as a table. Then at the top, it will show me the bar chart, and then at the bottom, it will show me the breakdown of this by venue and the number of teams. And then I'll be able to switch the layout here, so I can see this side by side, but I can click here at the top left, and then I can go back to the report here. So if I again go back to the more options here for each specific visual, then I can remove this, and then I can apply an AI algorithm to find cluster. And the next one is the spotlight option. So this will only highlight that specific visual here. And then after that, we have the sorting option. We can do it either from here or click on this each column here to do the sorting. Any questions on this? So each table visual will have specific formatting. So if I select this table visual here, go within the format pane, so you could see we have a big list of all the formatting that we could do. So if I click on this style, then we have the styling option which we can update. And then if I go within the general, so we can update the X position, Y position. So right now this is being calculated based on way we have placed the visual. But if I move this visual and then place it to the top corner, so you'll be observing that the X position and then Y position is now updated. And then if I expand this table visual, then the width and height will be updated here. And then within the style, you'll be able to select different option here, the way you want to present the data. And then we have grids here, the vertical grid, horizontal grid. And then if you want to change any of the colors here, then you can do that, and then it will update it. So it's only like a styling option, the way you want to present the data. And then if you want to change the header color, you can do that as well here. Yep. So these are the different options. And then you also have the capability to control the totals as well. And then also to do field formatting, conditional formatting, which we can cover later, because that is where you will be able to conditional format using a DAX measure, or you could do it directly uh, using, so within the conditional formatting. So let's say if I want to highlight the number of matches, I can click on changing the background color. Then you could see the lowest numbers are highlighted as red, and then this one is with a different color. So if I go within the advanced editor, then I can come here and then change the color for this as well. So we have different ways of doing conditional formatting. So we can discuss that as well. So any other questions, guys, for this?